So, do you know the selection rate of in competitive exam is as low as 0.2%? This statistic shows a clear picture of immense challenge a candidate face. In such a cutthroat environment, it's not just about knowledge. It's about the proper guidance, right strategy, the right mindset, and unwavering perseverance.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the eighth episode of the Bigger Picture podcast. Today's topic is Roadmap to Success Overcoming Challenges in Competitive Exam Preparation. The podcast will be co hosted by me, Meenal Agrawal, and
Hi, Darshan Jain. And today we are thrilled to welcome a very special guest, Mrs. Nimisha Bansal, a renowned educator, author, and mentor who has empowered countless students through her expertise in English and communication skills. With a passion for teaching and remarkable ability to simplify complex concepts, she has helped thousands of aspirants to conquer competitive exams and achieve their dreams. In this episode, we will dive into Mrs. Nimisha's journey, her philosophy on education, and how she's helping students navigate this tough path to success. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. It's truly an honor to have you here and to share your views, share your inspiring story with our audience.
Thank you so much for having me here, and it's a pleasure to be a part of this podcast.
So, ma'am, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling very excited and very enthusiastic, in fact, that I have got a platform to share my journey, to share what students should do, what they should not do, and help them in their preparation.
And, ma'am, what are your expectations from this podcast?
There are no such expectations at all. What I want is that students should learn a lot from this, and whatever failures they are facing or obstacles they are facing in their preparation, I just want to remove them via this podcast.
Okay, ma'am. Such a nice thing.
Yeah.
that is very inspiring, ma'am. So, let's get right into the questions. So, ma'am, the first question that we want to ask you is, of course, what inspired you to start your journey as an educator and mentor for competitive exam aspirants?
Okay. So I always wanted to be a teacher. When I was, I think, 6 or 7 years old, one of my relatives asked me that, "What will you become?" So I told him that I will become a teacher. At that time, people used to laugh at this thing because at that time the culture was that someone who doesn't get a job goes for teaching. So the culture was that during my growing up age. But I always wanted to be an educator. I not an educator. Educator term to came very late. At that time, we used to call a teacher. So I always wanted to be a teacher. The reason I wanted to be a teacher was the respect that teachers get. The second thing was I always like to share things. Like I was very good at teaching. I used to teach my friends. I used to teach my colleagues, you could say, when I was in office. I was very good at teaching. And why English? I started teaching English. The reason for teaching English was because I felt while I'll teach, I will learn a lot also. Like I will get to know news, I'll get to know what's happening. So I will inculcate all those things in my teaching apart from English. So English was the reason that why I chose English. And journey has been great. It has been overwhelming. And yes, it was very good.
Any time when you face some difficulties, some which you would like to share?
Yes, challenges were there. I faced a challenge when I got married and I shifted to a new city. I shifted to Delhi. I was in Mathura and I was taking classes there, offline classes there. I was teaching students for banking, SSC, CAT, and all these kind of examinations. Then I shifted to Delhi, though it was a complete change. Getting a job in Delhi was difficult because, I had a background of teaching in Mathura and there was a kind of thing that I was from a small city. So getting a job here was difficult. But once I used to give my demo, so people were so impressed that yes, we want this teacher only. So I started with offline. I taught in many institutes in Delhi. Then COVID came. Luckily, I shifted online before COVID. So COVID came in, I think, March. Lockdown and everything was
In,
there. I started my
in March
yes,
2020. Yeah.
in March 2020. I came online in Feb 2019. So during COVID, I was online, I was taking sessions online. So COVID did not have a bad impact on me. I would say in terms of giving classes and everything. So I had my students and I was teaching them. So that was the part, and challenges came when I was not able to manage my time. Challenges came, my father passed away few years back, so he was my biggest, support. So yes, challenges have been there in life, but recently I gave birth to a very beautiful daughter. So resuming work after that was also challenging, but yes, it is part and parcel of life.
It totally depends on the person that how we manage our challenges exactly. No?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
that you have persevered through all of these challenges is so inspiring because even during COVID-19, everybody was clueless as to how should we proceed. However, you channelized it as an advantage and you helped so many students who were stuck at their homes and provided them resources, which was so nice. Thank you so much, ma'am, on behalf of the thousands of students who have benefited from you.
My pleasure, ma'am.
And ma'am, as you are teaching many of the students for the competitive exams, so what are the most common challenges which students are facing in their competitive examinations, such as in SSC and bank exams?
So the biggest challenge is distractions today. Students are easily distracted nowadays. I would say clearing an exam has become easy nowadays because of the distractions, because 99% students are distracted. Only 1% students are there who are out of all those distractions and are completely able to focus. So the first challenge student faces like distractions like Instagram, Facebook, different social media platforms, YouTube is also somehow a distraction, because once, for example, a student has started preparing for an exam and he is following a strategy right now. A video pops up in front of him of another strategy. Then he sees a topper's video of another strategy. So the problem here is a student is not able to focus on a single strategy. So the biggest challenge is distractions. Then the second challenge is the competition that is increasing. Nowadays, we have cutthroat competition. Information is available to everyone. Previously, information was not available, so there were not many students preparing for a particular examination. So competition is huge, number of aspirants is huge. So students will have to work very hard, will have to differentiate themselves from others in order to secure a job in today's environment.
Yes, ma'am. And many are like that. Ki this exam, we should also give this exam to this exam to. So yeah, we should be very clear, very particular that what we have to go with.
Exactly. They
Yes,
should be focused.
there's always a fear of missing out, even in examinations. Your friend is given an exam and you feel left out, you feel behind for some reason, that why are you not giving the same exam? So, all of these, yes, they do create a distraction.
Yes, definitely.
So let's move forward to the next question. Ma'am, there are a lot of students who are very fearful of English as a subject, especially those who are from non-English speaking households and backgrounds. So what would be your strategy or advice to such students? How can they overcome their fear of English?
So basically, there are two types of things. The first one is spoken English, and the second is written English. So spoken English is a lot different from written English, because spoken English is not very rule specific. Written English contains a lot of rules, and the questions in the exams would also come like find out the error in this particular question. So if you are aiming for spoken English, then there are basically three things: that read a lot, listen to things a lot, and speak a lot. So that will improve your spoken English. Like you watch a lot of web series which are in English, watch them with English subtitles, read a lot of newspaper, watch news, and try to speak in front of the mirror many a times. So this will improve your spoken English. That's it. Do it regularly, do it with consistency. You'll be able to do that. Now comes written English. Written English is little bit tricky. So basically, I would tell for written English, divide it into four parts. The first part is the grammar part. Your grammar should be strong. But grammar will not become strong in a single day or in 7 days or 10 days. For that, you'll have to continuously work upon it because there are multiple of rules, multiple of concepts. So if you're targeting to improve your grammar, make sure that you give around 20 to 25 minutes or 30 minutes a day for your grammar part. Read topic wise, go start with tenses and then go towards different parts of speech and then sequence of tenses. And there's a complete list of chapters that you have to go through. If you are okay with your grammar and you just want that you should know the rules which come in written English, then there's 120 rules of grammar. You can watch that. And there's a video of mine. You can watch that. All of the concepts which come in examinations would be covered in that. So this was the grammar part. The next thing comes is the vocabulary part because there are millions of words in English. So it is very important and difficult at the same time to remember those words, what their meanings are, what are the idioms and phrases, what their meanings are. So for that, I would suggest go with a newspaper daily. For example, I always suggest my students go with the Hindu editorial. So make it a habit that you read one article daily and you skim one article daily. Now, what is the difference between reading and skimming? Reading is like you're going it thoroughly. You are reading every word, the word that is there, and you don't know the meaning. You are looking for the meaning of the word and then trying to grasp it. Skimming means you are just going through you're just doing it, or I would say you're just scanning it. You're not reading it in very detail. So make it a habit that you read one article from the Hindu and you scan and you skim one article regularly. So this will help you improve your vocabulary also and your reading skills also. So these two things you should do on a daily basis and then try to give tests. The more tests you will give, the more mock tests you will give, the more sectional tests you will give, that will improve your performance in written English.
So, ma'am, फिर जैसे you are giving only these strategies now to those who are coming from non-English background. You are teaching to those. So these are the things which they can improve and to get into that thing, na? Yeah. So, ma'am, what are the key strategies or habits you would be recommending to the students who are preparing for the competitive examination so that they can effectively prepare for their exams and they can get clear their exams without any hurdles? What would be the
Sure.
some strategies?
So the first thing that comes to my mind is planning. Planning is very important, and that is important in every stage of life. Whether you're preparing for a competitive exam, whether you're preparing for any kind of competition or anything, planning is must. So I recommend starting with a to-do list. So always before one day, like you have, for example, today is, what is the date today? Today is, I think,
15th of December.
December. So on 14th of December, you prepare your to-do list for 15th of December. Like what all activities you plan to do the next day. So for example, I plan to read 2 articles from this newspaper. I plan to solve these many questions. I plan to solve these many mock tests. So whatever I plan, I should have a plan before a day at least. And then the next day when I'm doing them, for example, I'm done with my editorial. So I should slash it. So I should cross it basically. So to-do list is very important to make. Habit number 1. Habit number 2 is meditation. I always tell my students to meditate for at least 10 minutes a day. So what happens is we are preparing for our exams and we are well prepared. But when we go to take the exam, the problem arises is we get nervous. We're not able to give our level best because the timer is ticking in and we forget many a times now what all we have studied. And then what happens is during our preparation journey also a lot of negative emotions come. Like we feel disappointed, there are a lot of failures, then somebody says something to you which hurts you a lot. So a lot of negative emotions come during the way. So meditation will help you fight all those emotions. So it's very important to meditate for at least 10 minutes a day. At the start, you will find some kind of problems. You won't be able to sit for 5 minutes or 6 minutes, but eventually with practice, you can do it easily for 10 minutes and it will really, really help you a lot. Habit number 3 that I always tell my students is manifestation. What is manifestation? Is like you close your eyes and you imagine the person whom you want to become, who you want to become. For example, you want to become a government aspirant, or you want to become a government servant, you want to become a civil servant, you want to become a banker, you want to become a GST officer, whatever you want to become. Imagine that you have become that person and feel it. Be happy about it and do this practice for at least 3 to 4 minutes a day. Manifestation helps a lot because it is scientifically proven that once you're able to manifest something, the frequencies match and the universe tries to help you in achieving that. So manifestation is again a very, very important thing. And the last but not the least is gratitude. You should be thankful for what you have. You should always feel grateful for what you have. For example, start your day with thank you, God, for giving me such a wonderful life. Thank you, God, for the food that I eat, for the place that I live in, and everything that you have given me. So start your day with these lines. So you will automatically feel a kind of a shift in your life. And that towards that too, a very positive shift in your life if you do these things regularly.
Yes, ma'am. These are the things which, yeah, generally which helps us to develop.
Even during our preparation, we know the importance of having a positive mindset, because of course peer pressure, comparison, inferiority complex, all of these are so common to students, and they just act as barriers to effective preparation, because you're not psychologically prepared or mentally prepared to sit in your exam and perform your level best. So yes ma'am, all of these tips are extremely important for any student. So moving forward to the next question, what advice do you have for students who have faced repeated failures in their competitive exams?
So failure is a part of life. We cannot escape from failure at all. If we take the example of many successful people, everyone has faced failures in his or her life. So if you're facing regular failures, then the only one thing is that you are not learning anything from those failures. So first of all, the failure that you have faced, try to learn that what went wrong. Give a day to the analysis what went wrong. Note down all the points that, for example, if I talk about competitive exam preparation, for example, you failed. So try to learn or try to understand that which was your weakest subject. In that, which topic were you not able to solve the questions in? So try to analyze and then start working. So failure always gives us an opportunity to learn, and we should consider it as an opportunity only, not any kind of setback. So
Yes.
this is my suggestion to all the
But today,
beginning people.
students are taking it as the other way. They are thinking that they are not capable enough, and some even go to the depression stage. So yeah, we must
Yes,
think that we have to learn from our mistakes rather than leaving the thing, leaving our dreams.
yes. Rather than regretting over it, we should learn from them. Okay, at least I got an opportunity. I now know what my weaknesses are, and now I have to work upon them.
We should
And,
think about it positively, because with each failure, you're just only bettering yourself for your next exam. So each failure is an opportunity for you to develop yourself. It does not define your worth
Right,
anywhere.
right. Extremely right.
and ma'am, as you are teaching so many of the students for the competitive examination, so can you please share a memorable story of a student who was feeling significant challenges to achieve his success, and how did he get to achieve his success? If any of the story you are reminding.
Okay, so I had a student, Sudhanshu, who was from a Hindi medium background and, has never, faced English at all. So I remember the day one when he first watched my session and he messaged me on my WhatsApp कि मैम मुझे कुछ भी समझ नहीं आया. Everything was Greek to me and I couldn't understand a single word in your class. I just told him, मैंने उसको सिर्फ ये बोला कि you have to be there for at least 10 classes. Come regularly in 10 classes. No matter you are not able to understand anything, that doesn't matter at all. Just attend the classes. And the 10th class, he told me कि मैम अभी 50-50% समझ में आ रहा है. So I told him to continue the classes. He kept on coming in classes, and hardly I think 6 months हुए थे उसकी preparation में, 6 or 7 months I think, and he cleared 7 to 8 examinations. IBPS PO, SBI PO, SBI clerk, IBPS clerk, then LIC assistant आया था उस साल वो exam. He cleared all of them. So the problem was what? मैंने ये story क्यों बताई? मैंने अभी ये क्यों बताया? The thing was कि पास्ट बहुत बार हम क्या करते हैं, मेनी अ टाइम्स वी अलाउ आवर पास्ट टू इम्पैक्ट आवर प्रेजेंट, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट वी आर नॉट एबल टू पुट आवर 100% एनर्जी इनटू आवर प्रेजेंट. तो द फर्स्ट सजेशन टू एवरीवन इज डोंट लेट योर पास्ट इम्पैक्ट योर प्रेजेंट. पास्ट में आप हिंदी मीडियम बैकग्राउंड से थे और यू हैव फेस्ड अ लॉट ऑफ फेलियर्स और योर फैमिली एनवायरनमेंट वाज नॉट गुड और एनीथिंग, लीव देम असाइड. What you have to focus upon is only and only the syllabus of the exam that you are preparing for. So you should have only one thing in mind, that these are the 4 subjects that I have to learn. This is the syllabus of the subjects, and I have to give my 100% energy to this syllabus. I have to know everything before my exam, and I have to practice at least 100 questions of each topic before my exam. Only this and this should be your focus. There is no other strategy. There is nothing else. If you give 6 months wholeheartedly with no negative energy, completely, if you're completely focused, then nothing can stop you from getting anything. You can achieve anything if you are completely focused towards it.
It's just a brilliant story which you have told. That would encourage many of the viewers, it would help them. And ma'am, that's just not the part of the question, but yeah, that's not something relevant to topic. But what are the changes do you think that the current education system should have to better prepare students for these competitive exams or for their, for their life?
The change number one that I would want to have in our schooling system or in our education system is that there should be, practical skills imparted to students. Nowadays, or in fact, in our time, I don't know about the current class schooling system, but in our time, we focused more on mugging up concepts. Like exams used to come, we used to mug up all the concepts and do all the ratification and everything, go in the exam, give that exam, and then we were like, we don't have to study it ever now. It's done. So nowadays, what I want is students should be taught concepts. For example, when I teach English to students, I tell them that there's this concept or there is this concept. For example, number, unit, noun, unit will come singular, number, unit can come singular or plural, or any kind of concept if I teach them. Students say that, "Ma'am, we were never taught this concept in school." But this was a very basic concept because it's nouns. So what I want is, if something is being taught to students, that it should be taught at a fundamental level, covering all the important concepts so that students don't face that much problem while preparing for competitive exams. Skills should be imparted more. For example, logical reasoning skills. Like we have never studied reasoning in our school, but reasoning is a part of most of the competitive exams nowadays. So these kind of skills should be imparted from a very primary level to the students.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I just have a final question to ask that as a student, all of us fear some or the other subject or some or the other chapter. We get so intimidated by it that we do not even feel like touching that chapter. And many students just leave those chapters or subjects and give their exams, and they then fail or cannot don't do better. So how do you suggest them to come out of this spiral and face their fears and touch that subject or touch that chapter?
This will come with a thought that nothing is impossible. If you're fearful in something, if you don't want to do something, if you are always stepping back when you have to do it, so just remember one thing: until and unless you will do it, you will not master it. So mastery, there is a concept behind mastery, that practice. The more you practice it, the more easier it would become. So simply Whatever your fears are, face them. Unless and until you face your fears, you will not come out of them. So face your fears, make a plan, follow that plan, have discipline, be true to yourself, and just start working upon it. Fears will disappear completely
Yes,
in a week's time.
we have to fight back with the challenge, with the fears of ourselves. Yes, ma'am. It was
Right.
such a fruitful discussion with you. We hope that you have also enjoyed the discussion.
I have enjoyed a lot, and thank you once again for inviting me here. And it was so wonderful talking to you.
It was also a great pleasure to have you here and to have that good discussion which we had with you. And it would be so inspiring for our viewers too.
So,
Thank you.
on this note, we come to the end of our podcast. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us and taking out time from your busy schedule. We are extremely thankful to you for sharing your invaluable insights with us. And as to the audience, I hope our conversation has provided you with practical tips and a renewed sense of confidence to tackle your exams. We just want to conclude by saying that remember, exams are not a definition of your worth but rather just a stepping stone to your future. And moreover, there is nothing to fear since Nimisha ma'am is always here. So, on this positive note, we thank you all. And yes, thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.